All right. We are live. We are live. So, you can see we got all of the training dogs out doing some socialization. We're also going to do some formal training with all of them. We're not going to do anything super extensive, but I love this opportunity. Come here. I love this opportunity during their social time. Because this allows me to use the other dogs as distractions, so that way I can work on impulse control. So this is actually one of my favorite things to do. Shiva, no. Yep, this is one of my favorite things to do because I don't see a lot of trainers doing this kind of training, right? And I'm not saying this in a bad way, I'm just saying it in a real way, right? And, I guess I have to classify myself as a content creator because I'm posting videos on social media for you guys to critique and learn from. As a content creator, I want to put out content that I don't see myself. That's my goal. I don't want my content to look like everybody else's, right? Everybody is kind of doing the polished, fancy obedience type stuff, which is good. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against that, right? But I don't see, from my standpoint, I don't see a lot of trainers doing real world training, right? What I mean by real world training, right? What you see here, this concept you see here where all of the dogs are out and, socializing, this is a dog park, right? So I use this to my advantage because this allows me to train, this allows me to train humans, right? How to train dogs, which is the hardest thing for me to do. Training dogs is fairly easy for me, if I'm being honest. But training humans is one of the hardest things that I'm learning how to do. And I have not succeeded at it yet at a high level, so I'm going to keep working on it. But that's what these YouTube videos do for me. It allows me to give you real-time information, right? And you can see me do things in real time that can't be manufactured when I come to your house. Sometimes people reach out to me with issues and they explain the issue to me, and the only answer I can give them is, well, the best thing to do is to show up at your house and deal with it in real time. Because for me to explain how to do it from a distance, it just doesn't translate well, or I just haven't figured out how to communicate it properly yet. I don't know which one it is, but I like this because this allows people to see what's possible. This allows people to see that their dogs are capable of socializing in a group setting, right? In a pack setting. Hey, right? So this is a perfect example. Nope. Now, he's neutered, right? He's actually neutered, but he still has a fairly high sex drive. So a lot of these characteristics would never go away, right? And this is what I tell people all the time. Just like people are who they are, and people very rarely make like big changes in their character traits because that's who they are genetically, right? So dogs are the same way, right? Dogs have genetic characteristics that will never go away. They're always going to be who they are, right? What we have to learn how to do is manage those genetic traits, right? Because we can't change them. They're already made, right? They're already predetermined what they're going to be, right? So because we can't change them, my goal is to train people how to understand dogs, right? Dog psychology. So that way you can read your dog better and learn how to manage your dog better, right? Because the vast majority of the issues that people face with their dogs is because they don't know how to manage their dogs, right? So that's my goal with this, right? And the reality is, man, the sit, the down, all of that what I call formal training, it is very easy, right? You really honestly don't need a trainer to do that, right? It's fairly easy to do. This is what people need training on. how to understand their dog, how to understand what their dog is thinking by looking at the dog's body language, by listening to the kind of bark that they do, right? All of those things is how dogs communicate. Eye contact, right? All of those things is how dogs communicate. They don't use words how we do. We just attach behaviors to words, and then we teach the dog through repetition, right, what we expect of them when we say a certain word, like six, right? The boy, right? Now, he doesn't understand English, right? He understands that through repetition and time, when I say sit, that means put your butt on the ground, right? So we have to learn. It's one of my quotes that I tell people. In order to make the dog smarter, we have to become dumber, right? And what I mean by that, in order to bring the dog up to us, we have to come down to the dog first. We have to understand the dog first, because it's impossible for them to understand us, which is why a lot of these dogs have psychological issues, because we're putting way too much human expectation on dogs or creatures that don't have the ability to decipher all of these emotions that we harbor as humans. They cannot compartmentalize like we do. They don't have the ability to do it, right? So we're putting too much expectations on dogs that are just incapable of doing it. And this is why you get a lot of the instability in the dogs that you get, right? So that's why I tell people all the time, it's not really my job to train your dog, right? It's your job to train your dog. It's my job to rehabilitate your dog back to being a dog, so it's actually easier to train your dog, right? And then it's my job to teach you how to train your dog. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm gonna do things, obviously. Hey! Perfect example. Right? So this dog's a perfect example, right? He has extreme rank dominance. Extreme rank dominance. Now, rank dominance is something that is a part of the Rottweiler's, temperament, right? But he has it extremely bad. So this is why he's separated from everybody else, because his genetics tell him dominate, right? That's all he wants to do. He just wants to dominate. And obviously we can't have that, right? Now, some of it is coming out of fear, right? But it's not a fear like he wants to run away, right? It's a fear out of he's unsure. Now, if he gets to a point where he becomes more sure of himself, right, then it's going to turn into true aggression. Right now, he doesn't have any real aggression. He just has dominance, right? But if you're not careful, and if you don't understand how to intervene and manage a dog like this, and you cannot do it purely positive, you cannot do it force-free. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just being honest. You may not like it, but I'm just being honest with you, right? He has to understand there's a bigger dog in town, and that big dog is me. Hey, cut it out. Cut it out. Right? That big dog is me. So now what I have to do effectively is transfer what I have inside of me to his owner, so they can continue to effectively manage him, right? Because he's never going to change. Training does not change the genetics of a dog, right? It just manages a dog. Essentially what it does is puts a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound. I'm just being honest with you. Right? Now, that's not me saying that training is not effective. Obviously, it's effective. If it wasn't effective, I would not have a career in dog training, right? But what I'm saying is the gunshot wound is the genetics of the dog. It's not going anywhere. That dog is always going to be that dog. So it's going to be a lifetime of you managing your dog. And the biggest mistake that people make, they think me as a dog trainer is a magic pill. They think once they bring their dog to me, all of the problems go away. False. They do not go away, right? Because, and this happens a lot. This happens a whole lot. Dog comes to me, I rehabilitate the dog, I get the dog to being a stable dog, right? I take the dog back home. The owners don't maintain, right, what I implemented, right? Hey, cut it out. The owners don't maintain what I implemented, and then the dog goes back to doing exactly what the dog's genetics tell it to do. And then I get a call, the dog is misbehaving again. Ah, get out. You know what my question to them is? What have you been doing to make the dog misbehave? What have you been doing, or what have you not been doing to make the dog misbehave? Because the dog is only going to do what you allow it to do. Point blank, period. A dog cannot misbehave if you do not allow it to misbehave, right? So this is why I say, I don't train dogs, right? I rehabilitate dogs, and I do my best to train humans. I haven't succeeded at it. I'm still trying to learn that, right? But that is my job, to train humans, and I'm getting better, but I'm not quite there yet, right? I'm man enough to admit that I haven't quite, reached that high level of training humans to maintain, hey, right? So, yes, folks, now that I've vented to you, now that I've got that off my chest, we're gonna do some formal training, right? So who do I want to do first? You know what? We're gonna go with Miss Summer. Come here, Summer. Good girl. Yes, that's a good girl. I'm not talking to you, Sheila. All right, so we're gonna do some formal training, and like I said, I love to do, the formal training, like the sits, the downs, all of that stuff, when you have a lot of distractions out, right? Because this is real world, right? When they take Summer out for the walks, right? One of the issues is she's all over the place, right? She's distracted, right? She's looking at the cat, she's chasing the squirrel, she's barking at the dog down the street, right? So this is only gonna help, when she goes back home, right? This is gonna help her be able to control her impulses, right? So we're just gonna go through a nice little routine. Again, this is not gonna be anything like super duper intensive, right? This is really just to kind of test to see where she is, because she actually goes home tomorrow, right? So, we may have to tighten up some things real quick, right? We may have to tighten some things up, but we're gonna find out. But, if there's some issues, it's a fairly easy fix, right? And let's see what we got. So, Summer, right here, come. Yes, good girl. Place. Right there. Sits. Good girl. Watch out now. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Watch out. Heel. See, she's distracted because he's standing in front of her, right? So this is a great exercise, because what I'm teaching her is that it doesn't matter what's in front. When I say heel, we got to go, right? Heel. And I'm just gonna move him out the way. Good girl. Summer. Come. Good girl. Place. Sit. That's a good girl, Summer. That's a good girl. Hey. Shh. 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 Right? So the reason I did that just now is because I went to correct him and he gave me a little snap. I have to follow through, right? Because if I allow him to do that, then that's the gateway to him thinking he can get away with it. And obviously with a dog like him, we can't allow them to get away with that, right? Those little things, right? Those little things are the things that you have to be aware of, because those little things can turn into big things if you're not careful, right? So I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm not saying he's gonna turn into an aggressive dog. What I'm saying is it's possible, right? And I want to decrease the possibilities or the probabilities that he takes that little behavior, that little snap that he just did to me, right? And he gets more confident with it, and then that snap turns into a bite, right? Then we're in trouble, right? So we have to nip that in the bud, like right now, right? Summer? Yes, good girl. Come, place. Sit. Yes, that's a good girl. That's a good girl. Not talking to you, Sheba. Good girl. Yes. See, dogs have to learn to respect your space too, right? They have to learn that every time I say good girl or good boy, I'm not talking to them, right? I'm talking to the dog that I'm directly talking to, right? This is how you create, and what that relates to is when you're in the house and you have guests over. That doesn't mean just because somebody comes in, you have permission to run up to them and jump on them and lick on them and put their face, in their lap. Everybody doesn't like that, so they have to learn manners, right? So this is why I love doing these group sessions, right? Because if you know what you're looking at, right, there's a lot of hey, shh, shh, ah, shh, shh. Right? She was doing a little growling right there. We don't tolerate any growling, right? We regulate all of the energy, right? This is how we keep fights down, right? Because it's very easily, if we were not here to intervene, right, a fight will happen. Like, I have no doubt about it, right? A fight would happen because that's how dogs regulate each other. They're very barbaric in nature, right? So what we have to learn how to do is understand how dogs communicate with each other. Use it to our advantage, but add some civility to it, right? The problem is we add too much civility to it. Too much, way too much, right? Dogs don't know how to handle that. So it has to be a balance, right? There has to be a high level of discernment that we have to use. When we're dealing with dogs, hey, leave them, right? Because again, we got to remember, I know you guys love your dogs, but they're not humans, right? They are not humans. Now, I know that sounds silly, but I promise you, there's a lot of people that don't understand that. They treat their dogs like humans, right? And that is unhealthy for the dog, right? That is literally, and I'm saying this on purpose because I wanted to wake something up in you. That is actually dog abuse, right? When you what's the word? Hey. She's too excited right now. She needs to calm down, right? Because she's the one that's inciting the riot. Everybody else is calm. She's the one bouncing around, being on the right and frantic, right? She has to learn how to read the room, right? We call that canine communication. Sheba, right? She has to learn how to read the room. As you can see, everybody else is chilling. She's the one bouncing around like a little rat on crack, right? So she has to learn how to read the room. So yeah, folks, you have to learn how to be a dog, right? Literally, you have to learn how to be a dog so that way your relationship with your dog is much more harmonious and it's not so stressful, right? So we're gonna do a couple of more sits with Sheba here. Like I said, we're not doing anything extensive, right? This is just kind of the test, what we've been doing for the last week. Summer, yes, good girl. Right here, good girl. Heel, good girl. Heel, right here. Place, good girl. Sit, that's a good girl. Summer, that's a good girl, yes. That's a good girl. All right, you're done. All right, free. Good girl. All right, so now we're going to do some work with this fella here, Atlas. Now we're going to do some work with Atlas here. Mister, I like to try to hump everything in sight. Between Atlas, Milo, Diesel, and this guy here, they want to hump everything in sight, man. Now, his motivation for humping is slightly different. They actually are humping because they have a high mating drive, right? He's humping because he has a high dominance drive, right? So the behavior is the same. You see them humping, but the motivation is different, right? And these are the things that I be trying to explain to people, that you have to understand what the motivation is for the dog, right? Because there's only a few different ways a dog can exhibit, right, what they are trying to communicate. They can bark, they can whine, right? They can hump, they can scratch, but all of those things that they're doing they're not for the same reason, right? But there's only a few different ways that they can exhibit whatever it is that they're feeling inside. So now what you have to do as a dog owner, not just a dog lover, right? You are a dog owner, meaning you are responsible, right, for this dog, right? I just had a situation, and obviously I'm not going to say any names. Dog that, I had on a 2-week board and train, and we did some individual sessions with. Now, ironically, this dog and another dog in the same building, right? Long story short, pit bull looked very similar to Milo here. Pretty much the same size. Milo is probably a little bigger, but very similar, right? Again, folks, I have not cracked the nut on how to get people to understand how important it is for them to be in control of their dog, right? As simple of a concept as that may seem, I don't know if I'm not explaining it. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But anyway, through all my effort, doing individual sessions, doing 2-week board and train with the dog. Now, don't get me wrong. When the dog comes with me, he's under control. So the dog understands very clearly what's expected. But again, if you are not holding your dog accountable, what do you expect your dog to do? I mean, they say the smartest dogs have the intelligence of an 8-year-old child. What do you expect your 8-year-old child to do if you give them the opportunity to do some things that they probably shouldn't do? They're probably going to do the things that they shouldn't do because they're thinking like an 8-year-old child. So a lot of people have 8-year-old children in their house and expecting them to act like adults. They're just expecting them to know what to do. Dogs are opportunistic creatures. If you give them the opportunity, they're going to take it, right? They are predatory animals, meaning when they see the prey, they're going to react and they're going to go for it. So whatever the prey is for them, it could be another dog, it could be a squirrel, it could be a person, doesn't matter what it is. If they see the opportunity and you don't hold them accountable and say, sit your butt down, don't you move, or stay by my side, guess what they're going to do? They're going to react. So anyway, long story short, this dog, right, the other dog, which is actually the same breed as Cody here, he's a golden, mini golden doodle or labradoodle golden doodle, mini golden doodle, right, which is another dog that I'm working with in the same building, right? The owner of the pit bull didn't have control of his dog because his dog has issues of running up on people because he gets excited when he sees other dogs. Knocks the lady down. Long story short, now it's looking like the lady that owns the golden doodle is going to sue the guy that owns the pit bull. And they're both my clients. So now I'm stuck in the middle of a situation where I've been trying to explain to this guy for 4 months now, or 5 months. Hey man, you can't allow your dog to do this. When you go out in public, you can't expect people to move over on the side. That's your responsibility. They get the right of way. Like trying to explain to him the responsibilities of a dog owner. And unfortunately, now we have a situation to where I may be in the middle of it, some type of legal, I don't know, we're gonna see. But the point that I'm making is, folks, your dogs are not your children. They are dogs. Treat them as such, okay? I don't know how else to say that, but let me get to the training because I don't want to keep preaching. So let's do some work with Cody. Come here, Cody. Come here, big fella. Good boy. I didn't call you. Good boy, Cody. Come here, Cody. Yes, that's a good boy. That's a good boy, Cody. Now, this guy has some extreme fear and anxiety. He's getting much better. He was a dog. I've never experienced this ever, right? He was a dog when we first got him. Now, he's getting much better at it now. He hasn't really been doing it the last couple of days, ironically, right? But, hey, leave him. He was a dog when you went to pick him up, literally sounding like you was abusing him. And all you was doing was going to pick him up, right? Let's see if he does it now. Now, I have to be careful because if he starts making that noise, that could actually trigger them and make them, jump on him, right? Cody, come. Good boy, yes. Right here. That's a good boy. Back it up. That's a good boy. That's a good boy, Cody. Yeah. Now, again, this may look simple to you. This is a big deal, right? Because before, when we went to pick him up, it literally sounds like it. He made it seem like we was like, I mean, stabbing him with a knife. Yeah, you see his face? That's how we would look like. What's the problem? We just picking you up, right? So he has some extreme fear, anxiety issues, but he's getting much better. And you know what helped him? Being around other dogs. I love to use dogs to train other dogs because dogs are going to learn from dogs faster than they learn from humans, right? So when you have the opportunity to have stable dogs, right, around you, use other dogs to help you train dogs. Cody, sits. Right there you go. That's a good boy, Cody. That's a good boy, yes. Heel. Good boy. Sits. That's a good boy, Cody. I have to be gentle with him, right? You notice I'm very slow and methodical, right, when I come in to greet him. Because again, he has extreme fear, anxiety issues. Extreme, right? So this is where discernment has to come in, and you can't train every dog the same. Even though they may have some of the same issues, right? Every dog is slightly different. So this is where your discernment comes in, right? And I have to tell myself, I can't come in and, hey, back it up. I can't come in and pet Cody like I do him, right? Or like I do him, right? I can be a little rougher with him. I can't do that with him, right? Because that's traumatic for him, right? Good boy, yes. That's a good boy. Come here, Cody. Right here. Come on. Place. Right there. Sit. Right there. Sit. There you go. That's a good boy. Yes. Heel. Sit. Yes. Good boy. That's a good boy. You can see it when I go to pet him, right? He starts to try to avoid it, right? Because again, his fear, anxiety kicks in. He's every second of the day, he's thinking about what's coming to kill me, what's coming to hurt me, right? That's literally what he's thinking about 24/7, right? Now again, that's never going to change. That is who he is, right? All we can do is do our best to manage it effectively, right? And get him to a point to where, just on a general basis, right? We teach him that through confidence, you don't have to feel like everything is out to hurt you, because it's not, right? Cody, come. Good boy, yes. Place. Okay, you turned the wrong way. I'll take it. Yes, that's a good boy. That's all we're going to do with Cody right there. Good boy, yes. Now, since you're here, Mr. Milo, we're going to do some work with you. Now, we've had these guys, we've had Milo and Simba here for a week. Milo and Simba are brothers from the same house. Obviously, they're not related. He's a German Shepherd, he's a pit bull, right? But they are from the same house. So he has some slight dominance issues. And it's funny because his owners, right? He's older, Simba is older, but he always try to correct him. So I told him, I said, it's not necessarily about the age, it's about the mentality, right? And it's about a dog, because they are pack animals. Naturally, one dog is going to take over as the more dominant dog, right? So he's taking over as the more dominant dog. Now, what I don't want to happen is he gets to a point where he really gains confidence, right? And he begins to correct him, and it turns into a fight, right? Because that could happen, right? So again, what I'm teaching the owners how to do is to be leaders, so he doesn't feel like he has to be the leader, right? So all we're going to do with him, we're going to start introducing leash pressure with him, right? Or what we call tactile communication. Milo, come right here. Tactile communication, good boy, yes. That's a good boy. Over here, yes. Good boy, right? I'm just teaching him to follow the pressure, right? So if the pressure comes this way, you go with the pressure, right? We call this leash etiquette, right? Good boy. Sit. So I'm applying pressure on his high, on his back end, and I'm also applying pressure here, right? Because what this is, good boy, that's a good boy, Milo, right? What I am teaching him is when you feel pressure on your back end and when you feel pressure here, that means put your butt on the ground. She good. Yeah. They ain't really paying her no attention. Now, if she was like nagging them, right? Then it'll be something different. But they ain't really paying her no attention, so she's good. So yeah. Yep, Milo, heel. Right here. Good boy. Sit. There you go. You see it happen faster that time, right? Good boy. That's a good boy. We're going to do that a couple more times, and that's going to be it with him. Milo, come. Good boy. Yes. Place. Sit. That's a good boy, Milo. Yes. That's a good boy. Mm-hmm. Is it your turn, Mr. Atlas? All right, that's enough. Whoa. Okay. All right. Come here, Atlas. It's your turn, sir. Now, we've had Atlas for 3 weeks. So, you know, this week is the week where we're really going to be, you know, getting a little bit more intense to make sure that everything is legit. Make sure we cross all our T's and dot all our I's. Right? Atlas, come. Good boy. Place. Sit. Yeah, that's a boy, Atlas. That's my boy. That's my boy, Atlas. That's my boy. Yes. Come. Place. Sit. That's a good boy, Atlas. Sit. See, this is where we need some work on his duration, right? Meaning stay. Now, my stay is an implied stay. So when I say sit, that means stay in that position until I ask you to do so. So perfect example, right? He gets lazy and he wants to lay down, right? So he can't lay down, heel, because I didn't ask him to lay down. I want him to sit. Now, you may think, well, why be so anal about it, right? Again, dogs have to understand that when they are asked to do something, they have to do it, right? Because if I allow him to disobey that sit, then that's going to translate to something else. And then it's going to translate to something else, right? This is how you get obedient dogs, right? So again, you may be looking at it like, well, he's laying down, it should be okay. No, I didn't ask him to lay down. That's a different command, right? Sit. Sit. Yes. Leave him. Good. Now you saw that little heel tap is no different than me using my hands, right? That was just a tool that I have readily available because both of my hands were, occupied. So I just used the heel of my foot to communicate to him tactile communication that, hey, there you go. That's a good boy. Now you take it down. Yes, good boy. That's a good boy. And we're going to leave it just like that. So yeah, folks. Misty. Come here, Misty. Come on, mama. Your little stubborn self. Well, I'm telling you, Siberian Huskies are some of the most stubborn dogs in the world, man. They are some of the most stubborn dogs in the world. All right. So we're going to do some work with Misty real quick. And again, folks, this is like just a little refresher course. It's not anything super intense, right? But it's an opportunity for me to use my environment as a training tool. Misty, right here. Place. Good girl. Sit. That's my girl. That's my girl, Misty. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's my girl. Down. Down. There we go. Take it down. There we go. So now we know we have to work on her down more. Down. And all I'm going to do, again, this is tactile communication. I'm just communicating to her that when she feels pressure here, good girl, yes. And when she feels pressure pulling down, you know, on the leash, that means go down. Now, the most important part about leash pressure, right, is you must also, essentially what we're doing, we call this teaching the dogs to turn off the pressure, right? And basically all that means is as soon as they go into the position that we want them to go into, we must release the pressure, right? Which means when she got her belly on the ground, the pressure from the leash went away. So, perfect example, down. So as soon as she puts her belly on the ground, the pressure from up top is gonna go away, and then the pressure from the bottom is gonna go away, and then praise and affection is gonna come, right? That's the reward, right? Yes, that's a good girl. That's a good girl. Yes, that's a good girl. And that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna leave it just like that, right? Sometimes training doesn't have to be 30 minutes of drill sergeant, right? So who we doing next? Let's go, Diesel. Diesel, come here. Good boy. Come here. Get your butt over here, Diesel. Boy, I tell you. Come here, goofball. All right. So Diesel's been here for a week as well. Yeah, come on, Diesel. So again, he's learning leash pressure. He's learning tactile communication. He's a stubborn little sucker. Again, that's that bully in him, right? Bullies are known to have that stubborn streak, right? That strong willpower, right? Come. Yes, good boy. Yes, good boy. So again, just teaching him to go with the pressure, right? And when he does this, the pressure stays on. As soon as he starts moving forward, the pressure goes away naturally, right? This is him against him. I have nothing to do with this. I'm just the referee, right? I'm just enforcing the rules. Hey, Barbara, no. Right? So as soon as he makes the decision to go towards the pressure will go away, right? Laying down is not going to make the pressure go away. As a matter of fact, laying down is going to make the pressure even more. Good boy. There we go. That's a good boy. Right? So he came towards the pressure naturally went away, right? Because obviously, I'm over here, right? Again, pressure, right? He's fighting the pressure. We call this opposition reflex, right? So essentially what we're doing is training the dog not to fight the pressure. Don't fight the power. For the folks that know public enemy. Good boy, there we go. And as simple as it seems, this is actually a lesson for the dog, right? Because this is the building blocks of leash etiquette, being able to walk your dog on a leash and they're not pulling you all over the place, right? Like he's doing now. You see what I'm saying? Come. Good boy. Yes, good boy. Now, believe it or not, some of the best time to train a dog is when they're tired, right? Because obviously they don't have as much physical exertion, right? And it's easier to manipulate them. Good boy, yes. So we're gonna leave it at that for him. And I know this seems very like elementary, but trust me, folks, when you do this consistently, this is how you're able to get dogs like this that can exist with other dogs. You get stable, calm dogs, right? So who else we got? We have to work with
1, 2.
Well, Sheba's actually here for boarding, so she's not here for training. We got to do Barbara. Come here, Barbara. Did we do Barbara?
No.
We didn't do Barbara, right? No,
We did everybody except for Barbara and
Simba.
yeah.
Barbara, come here. Okay. So Barbara's another dog that we've had for a week. Now Barbara, as you saw in the video, is a hyper active dog, right? You know, what we call neurotic. She's extremely neurotic, right? So what we're working on with her is, one, getting her to control her impulses, right? She's a very impulsive dog. Right? So little behaviors like that. She bites on the leash, right? These are little behaviors that you have to make sure that you address, because they turn into bigger behaviors if you don't address them, right? So she has to learn that she's not the boss. She has to comply, right? This is a benevolent dictatorship, right? This is not a democracy. This is a benevolent dictatorship, meaning we can have a harmonious relationship as long as you listen to me because I know what's best. I'm the human. I bought you. I buy your food. Everything that you have a luxury of being able to experience in this world is because of me. And because of that, you have to listen to me. You do not set the rules, right? I set the rules. Barbara, yes, good girl. That's a good girl, mama. Yeah, come. Yes, good girl. Hey, 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 leave her. Come, right here. Come. Good girl. Yes, that's a good girl, Barbara. That's a good girl. Yeah, you a good girl. Yeah, you a good girl. Good girl. What's up, Cody? What's up, Cody? What's up, boy? Good. Hey, 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 hey. Shh. Oh, drop the leash. Barbara, come. Yep, just working on engagement with her. Good girl, yes. Barbara, yes, good girl. Barbara, right here, yes. Good girl, that's a good girl, yes. That's a good girl. Yep, so we're gonna leave her right there with Barbara. Nope, perfect example, right? Leash came off. She went to snap at the leash. She went to jump on me. I had to correct her, right? That's one of the issues that our owner is having with it. She likes to jump on people. Again, that's a part of that impulsive nature, right? When she gets overstimulated. So those are the things that we're going to be working on with Ms. Barbara here, right? So now we got to do Big Simba. Simba, come here, big fella. Come here. Good boy. That's a good boy, Simba. That's a good boy. Come here. You got a little boo-boo on your nose. Where do you get that from? All right. Come here, Simba. Right? So we're pretty much working on the same thing with Simba as we are Milo. Again, they are coming from the same house. So we're working on tactile communication, leash pressure, pinpoint pressure. And what I mean by pinpoint pressure is when I apply pressure to specific spots on their body because I want that part of their body to submit to the pressure. No. Perfect example, right? Remember I told you he tries to dominate him, right? Perfect example. Simba, come. Good boy, yes. That's a good boy. Simba, come. Yeah, right there. Good boy. That's a good boy. Sit. Yes, that's a good boy, Simba. Yeah, that's a good boy. Now, Simba actually has a medical condition with his eyes, so we have to put eye drops in his eye twice a day to make sure that the mucus, the eye boogers don't build up in his eye and they stay moist. So that's why you see me cleaning his eyes periodically. So yeah. Good. That's a good boy. Sit. Sit. There we go. That's a good boy, Simba. Yes, that's a good boy. That's a good boy, Simba. Yes. So there you go, folks. That's it for these guys today. Their training is done. Right? His training is not being so dominant, right? He knows, as you saw, he knows sit down, like his basic obedience is on point, believe it or not. He's just extremely dominant, right? So even him being in this proximity, even though he's inside that little enclosure, is a big deal, right? Now, maybe at some point we'll put a muzzle on him and have him out with the other dogs. But that's a big step. That's a big step. So anyway, folks, we're not going to hold you any longer. Hopefully we gave you some valuable information. If we did, make sure you like, make sure you comment, right? We had anybody ask any questions? No? Okay, cool. So make sure you like, comment, make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and make sure you share this on all of your platforms if you think it's valuable. If you don't think it's valuable, then don't share it, right? So yeah, folks, look, if you're having problems with your dog. It's not a dog problem, it's a you problem, and you should probably be calling me. So, with that being said, until the next video, peace and prosperity. Simple.